4 steps to coming back to self. Let's get right into it because honestly, guys, as the world continues shifting and changing and the old way of doing things, the old way of life and living is dying out. We continue gaining access to all this abundance of information. We're learning the truth about things. Personally, with all of that going on, it put me in this state of self reflection. And I never felt so called to come back to self, come back to who I am, come back to like, what is it, getting to know exactly what it is that I want to do, I love doing, and living life accordingly to that. And I feel like I can speak on behalf of some of the collective because from what I'm experiencing with the people around me, it's all like we're coming back to ourselves, and it's honestly a beautiful thing to see. The world never needed authenticity so much. So that is why I'm here sitting in front of you guys creating this video. Hello, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Shrain. Call me Miss Rain. I'm your unconventional teacher. So take what resonates. All right, getting right into step 1 of coming back to self. This, I feel like, of course, has to be the first step because before we can get through all the other steps, we have to deprogram ourselves. So step 1 is deprogramming, deconditioning, unfixing our mind and getting into this growth mindset, because I would say, for speaking from personal experience, that like just opening myself to all the truth that's been revealed to us and growing through the lessons I've gone through, I came to this realization like, okay, clearly we were lied to. Clearly, that way of living wasn't working out for the collective. That is why all the system and all this old way of doing things is dying and collapsing before our eyes because it wasn't sustainable, and change is needed. And I'm like, okay, well, how do we go about change, Shireen? And of course, to make a difference in the world, you start with making a change with yourself. And by doing that, I got into some deconditioning. I got into deprogramming. I unlearned things. I unlearned, what I was taught by like family and family values or friends and the adults in my life growing up. I unlearned the system, especially the system, whether the system has taught me all those things that I felt were going against me, and realizing that some of them are a lie or some of them were just made up by other people's experiences and their perspective, and it just didn't align with who I was. I, day by day, unlearning, deprogramming, deconditioning, and opening up my mind. Because truthfully, guys, look at what state we're in now, the collective, personally, what I feel by living by living by the system, living by other people's values and beliefs. Look at where that got us. You get me? It did not really get us too far. So for some, maybe like the past generations, our parents and everybody, it got them somewhere. But now here's our generation just recovering from what we were taught from our parents and from the past and from the system. Here we are healing and doing the work and recovering from all those lies. And yeah, with what I'm saying is basically just it didn't work out for us growing through these years of living by somebody else's rules or living by somebody else's truth. So as soon as you get into your deprogramming and your deconditioning and you're getting into that growth mindset and you're taking on new information, it leaves us like open and vulnerable. So that brings me to step 2 of coming back to self, which is doing the inner work. Guys, I'm going to always talk about this. I'm going to always back it up and vouch for it and tell you guys how important it is to start doing the inner work. Like, if for those of you that are subscribed to my channel, you know that I have a whole episode on it, that I'm always talking about it. It's just, how can you not do the inner work when we spent all these years going against ourselves, living out of integrity, living a life of a lie because we're living by other people's values and beliefs? What do you think that has done to us for all these years? Once again, like speaking from personal experience, it just put me in this state of like self-reflection. And you know, I can say personally, I got into this with a story time before. That life of lie, living for someone else, like living with the someone else's belief system and their values, it kind of like led me astray for a bit. It led me far away from myself, and I feel personally that the collective, a lot of us have been led astray and been led far away from ourselves. And I feel like that's why a lot of us just been is recently experiencing, confusion and moments of realization, and we're having eye-opening moments. We're just realizing that like, holy, that's not I've been living a life that doesn't align with who I am, you know? And I feel like that's why some of the collective is battling with like fear and anxiety and depression, because they've been told this lie. We've been told this lie to live a certain way, and that way goes against who we are. So now we're left stuck healing from that, and that is why doing the inner work is important, because it's recovering from the years and years of just being led astray and being far away from ourselves. So it's doing the inner work basically allows us to come back home to self, come back to self, come back to God, come back to source, whatever it is I'm a very open person. I don't judge. Whatever it is that you look to, it's coming back to that and who you are and who you believe. And then while we're in this step, while you're doing the inner work, at least that's where you can ask yourself, who am I? Who am I? What are my values? What do I really value? Am I holding on to values that my parents taught me and it doesn't make sense, or what a friend or a boyfriend or a teacher taught me? Am I holding on to a belief system that was taught to me that doesn't make sense to me? What do I believe? Like, what do I believe is true? What do I believe is right? What do I believe is wrong? When you're in this step of doing the inner work, you can identify those things with yourself. You're getting to know yourself in this inner work stage. And that is why it's so important. Why I'm talking about doing the inner work now, summing it all up, is it will take you into step 3. Because once you know who you are and you get a sense of self and you become grounded in who you are and your truth, then you can move to step 3, which is get creative. This is the fun step, but also this step can be a little challenging. That's why, don't worry, that is why step 2 is first. That's why doing the inner work comes before getting creative, because by knowing who you are, and you're walking in your truth and in your authenticity, you'll gain back that confidence. You'll be resilient. You'll be able to create that ideal life for yourself. That's why I was saying the creative stage is the fun stage as well, but also challenging, because you're creating this life for yourself, but sometimes that doubt creeps in. It's okay. Just come back to self. You go back to doing the inner work and you get back to self, and then you get back to creating. And in this creating step, you not only get to create the ideal life for yourself, the life that reflects who you are, that reflects your values and your beliefs, learning to work with your creativity, you can also build that financial freedom. So if you're a person like me that values my sovereignty, my freedom, my time, like if you're a person like me that values those things, it is so, I feel like I can't stress it enough, but use your creativity to buy those things back. Use your creativity to take those things back. I am a living proof, and there's so many creators out there now that the world continues changing. As I said, there's so much proof out there, guys, that you can indeed make a living off of your creativity. It will pay your bills. And I'm saying that as an affirmation to you guys and to myself, as a reminder that you can make a living and take back your freedom from your creativity. There's that. And if you are a person that enjoys having a job, like nothing's wrong with that, that doesn't want to be an entrepreneur, and you like working for people, we the whole point is we're getting to this stage in life where your authenticity should be like it's gonna be on the resume, and your creativity. What can you bring to this job? You want to know those things about yourself. If you're going to work a job, you want that job to align who you are and your values and beliefs. You don't also have to create a ideal career. You can just find a career that reflects who you are as well, you know? And that's my goal. I'm a part of that group that wants to create opportunities, work opportunities for people that allows them to bring in their creativity and their free expression and their authenticity. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you guys are seeing it too. I seen on Twitter, I don't want to ramble so much, but I seen on Twitter an astrologer actually got a job with a record label, and she is what it is she's an astrologer for the musicians, and she's like basically explain to them the transits and when to she's just working with them and their chart and their uniqueness using her gift. So that's an example right there. She didn't have to create her own career. She didn't have to be an entrepreneur, but she found a job that reflects who she is. Okay, so enough rambling with that. What I'm saying is you can create that, just to wrap up step 3, you can create that ideal life for yourself, guys. And it doesn't have to look like creating a whole new job or whatever. It's just important that it reflects your values and reflects back who you are and your beliefs, and it allows you to be freely creative and expressive and authentic. So step 3 is getting creative. Create that ideal life for you, which that leaves me with the 4th and final step, and that is surrendering and having faith. Because once again, I'm going to speak from personal experience here. I can admit to you guys that that I'm actually finally stepping into this 4th step, and that these past 3 years has actually been me struggling to struggling in the 3rd step of creativity and coming into surrendering faith. What was happening was basically I felt like I just had one hand in my old life, what was created for me, that life where it's like, work, Shireen, work for your money, work hard for your money. I felt like one hand was stuck in that life, with the limited beliefs, the self doubt, and then I had another hand in my brand new life that I created for myself, where it reflects my values and my beliefs of freedom and being able to experience and make money off my creativity. Like I was making money off of my reflection journals. I was hosting events. I was attending events. I was co-hosting events. I had one hand. I have had one hand in that life and the other hand in my old life, and it's just been a game of tug of war for these past 3 years. I can admit to you guys, and you know why? Don't want to ramble too much on this. I have talked about it before, but while I was on my spiritual journey, what had happened is two big things had happened being on my spiritual journey. One is, yes, I went through a huge transformation. I did some deep healing and reflection, but I did also too get led astray and led far from myself. And let me tell you guys something. When I say I'm a believer of God, so when I say I got led away from self, I also got led away from God, because I believe, like, to have that deep connection with the Creator, with Lord, you have to have that connection with yourself. To be able to talk to God, you have to sit with self, sit in meditation, in prayer. That's my belief. Yeah, when I'm saying that I got led astray and led far away from self, I was battling my faith. You know, I was battling my faith. I was struggling to surrender because I was relying too much on external things, too much on like astrology and tarot reading and all that stuff, which I have to create a whole other video talking about. Too much of something can be very poisonous. We have to be in the art of balance. But yeah, I definitely got led astray on my spiritual journey. And when you are, the problem is when you are far away from yourself, it leaves room for fear and anxiety and self doubt, all of that low vibrational shit. It leaves room for all of that to. If you hear that I'm out of breath, guys, don't forget I'm pregnant and just remind me to breathe. Yes, but it leaves room for all that low vibrational things to creep in. And that is what happened. That is what actually been happening. I can say even throughout the start of my pregnancy journey, I've talked about all of this in my previous other videos, but yeah, I've just been in this tug of war between old life and new life and battling with faith and surrendering. And I can finally say to you guys that this pregnancy journey that I'm on has helped me step into the final step, the fourth step of coming back to self. And it's walking with faith. It's surrendering, you know. It's telling God and myself, like, these, like, journaling, these are my fears. This is what I'm worried about. This is what I'm stressed about. This, and just leaving it to God, and just understanding that those are limited beliefs, and it's your old self just putting up a fight with you. But for sure, you do indeed deserve that life you created for yourself, Shireen. You deserve it. You worked hard for it. You've been putting in the work for it. You deserve better. You deserve greatness. You deserve abundance. Like, just have faith. It's coming. It's coming in. That's I'm fine. I can finally say I have like stepped into that step. And honestly, I want the same for you guys. So that is why I'm here creating this video, and I listed all 4 steps for you guys, you know, because it is so important to come back to self. It's so important to step 1, deprogram yourself, decondition yourself, get into so that you can get into that growth mindset and not be ignorant to the change that's happening in the world, not be afraid of the change that's happening in the world, and being able to get into step 2, doing the inner work so that you can be grounded in who you are, know who you are, being able to not be traumatized anymore and understand what you have gone through, because all those years of going against yourself, and being led astray, just being able to do the inner work so that you can forgive that part of yourself and accept and love. And you just, again, once again, know who you are so that you can go into the next step, which is get creative, create that ideal life you want, create that life that you deserve, not even want, create that life that you actually deserve, that life that reflects who you are, your values, your beliefs. And then the final step, surrender, have faith, know that it is for you and it is meant for you and you deserve it. I deserve it. We deserve it. All of us deserve it. um, so once again, guys, like, if you made it to the end, thank you so much. If you have any questions, comment down below. I appreciate you guys for watching this. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you. Love you. Peace. Good day.